Hi, I'm Jackie Tantillo, and this is Should Have Listened to My Mother. Thanks for listening to Should Have Listened to My Mother. I so respect and value you taking the time to rate and comment on Apple Podcasts, YouTube, Spotify, iHeart, and all the different platforms where you can listen. Your feedback is so helpful, and it keeps me on my toes. And please remember to tell a friend. My guest's mother had no idea that her daughter was serious about pursuing a singing career until she actually left Australia and moved to Japan. As a twin of one of 7 children, her mom says that her daughter kind of got lost in the commotion of all the kids, and she didn't realize that she was serious about her dream of being on the stage. That was in 1996, and today Donna Burke is still living in Japan and has a very successful career as an actor, singer, writer, and a voiceover artist. Donna is not only the English female announcer on the Tokyo to Osaka Shinkansen bullet train. Have you ever heard of the legendary video game Metal Gear Solid? Well, Donna sings the song Sins of the Father, as well as songs from Silent Hill 2 and 3 and many, many more. And she's performed live a number of times with the Tokyo Philharmonic Orchestra. Though Mom suffered through years of childhood trauma, she often told her children, be kind to yourself and others, and not to hang on to anything that's unpleasant. Donna's mother's advice to parents today is, don't be afraid to say no to your children. You have to prepare them for life, where there could be lots of no's. Joining us from Tokyo, Japan, Donna Burke. Welcome to Should Have Listened to My Mother.
Thank you so much for having me, Jackie. It's a pleasure.
It's really fun, and actually you're my second guest from Japan, so it's so special that we can make this world get really, really small and comfy and cozy, and we can talk about that common thread of this woman that has a presence in our life called our mothers. Please share with us your mom's name.
My mum is called Margaret Mitchell. She married again after divorcing my dad. So, Marg Mitchell to her friends.
And you are one of 7 children. Where, and one of a twin. Where in the order are you?
So there's Jenny, Kathy, Donna, Frankie, Matthew, Andrew, and Alison. So I'm number 3. My twin brother says I pushed him out of the womb first. So, yeah.
So he's older than you? Your twin brother's older than you, or you pushed him out,
younger.
Or he pushed?
I pushed. I stuck my foot in his face, and I got out first. I think is what I'm saying. Yeah. I always like to say that being in the middle is I can be bossed and I can be bossy. So I think I'm very well balanced.
Well, I think you kind of had to find your place in the order, right? Being in the middle is kind of like, whoa, there's a lot going on either sides, right?
Yeah, and you told me before you're number 7.
Yeah.
The youngest.
So
the baby.
I kind of got my graduate degree in listening, the way I look at it, because I was always the youngest, right? And it was hard to get a word in edgewise.
Oh, my
So
goodness.
I listened, watched, and learned a lot. A lot. So, but you're from Australia. You grew up in Australia.
Yeah.
Tell us what that was like in your household with 7 of you.
I don't think I had a happy childhood.
You did not. You did not.
No, I was not. Now I've just been recently diagnosed with some ADHD, and I can see that I just couldn't deal with the amount of stuff going on. I never had my own room. I shared it with 2 or 3 messy sisters. My mother was often not well. I didn't enjoy it at all.
And where did you go to find solace?
There was a garage, a shed out the back, and that was the only place that I could. No one wanted to be there, so I cleaned it up, and that's where I could study. And yeah.
So when your mom said in that video of the two of you, which is absolutely darling, and I'll put all the information in the show notes. When she said she didn't realize that you really enjoyed singing, and that she kind of lost track of you, that it's accurate, right?
No, definitely. Yeah, and it was yeah, like now when I see parents with their children, I find it very healing. Or most of the time, like they really wanted the kids, they really enjoy the kids, they think their kids are really funny, and I didn't feel that growing up. I felt like I was just you know when you see parents like, what do you want for dinner, and how do you feel, and what would you like? It blows my mind. Like it was like, just this is what you're getting. There's no asking, your opinion of what you. Maybe if it was your birthday, you could say, "What do you want for dinner?" and then other words say roast chicken. So there was no asking me personally what would I like or what would make me happy. And I think part of my journey as an adult is to ask myself that and to give myself permission. It's okay to, want what I want.
Well, and you went to Japan to find it.
I did, and it worked.
Yeah. Well, there you go. So sometimes we have to have the power to take that first step, right?
Yeah, and also being in Japan, I'm far enough away that I cannot get sucked into obligations of family, and because I'm highly sort of people-pleasing, empathetic, I will just like, oh my God, someone needs me, and I'll drop everything. I probably wouldn't have a career. And it's kind of one reason why I haven't had children, because I just think if I had kids, I would not do anything. It would be all about them. I'll be like, helicopter, I'm sure.
Okay, so we know where that can go. The helicopter parent. So your mom, from the little bit that I know, she had a tough go of things. But before we get into the details of her childhood, your mom's ability to be what influenced you positively? Her ability to, you said she always said to be kind to others and yourself.
Yeah, like one of her great sayings is, be kind to yourself. Be kind to yourself. And it really resonates with me because, I speak really kindly to myself. Like I will, I won't say, oh, you're an idiot to myself. I'll just say, oh, you tried your best. And also another thing she meant was be kind to yourself is don't push yourself physically. Again, I have a tendency to do that. So just give her words give me permission to just it's okay to sit and read a romance novel for 2 hours in the middle of the day and have a cup of tea and a biscuit. It's okay.
It's okay to give yourself something or give yourself a hug, which we still. I'm victim of that as well. I certainly don't put myself first all the time. So that's admirable. She had a mom, your grandmother. Did you ever meet your grandmother? Your maternal?
No, I never met her. She was an alcoholic, I believe. She had a beautiful singing voice, apparently. So maybe that's where I got mine from. But she was an alcoholic and married to a very bad person. And then back in those days, my mum's parents got divorced, which was just not the thing, coming from a Catholic. But actually not the thing for anyone. And she was not allowed to live with her father until she turned 15. So she had to live with this terrible stepfather and her alcoholic mother. So, yeah. So, and then when she was 14 or 15, the law allowed the father, the biological father, to let her live with him. biological father was not really great either. He was a inveterate gambler who would just, so she came from a pretty bad situation, and part of her pride is that none of us are alcoholics or gamblers, or her children have done better and had a better life than she had, and that's a source of pride.
Well, that's pretty remarkable, considering that it can be genetically passed down too. You'd be predisposed to substance abuse of some sort. Tell me a little bit more of what you know of your mom's experience in the orphanages, and how did she get this amazing positive outlook on life after experiencing what she experienced?
I think she had a very childish, and which I also used to have, I don't have it anymore, a very childish view of God, and that that God would come and save her. And when her father walked into the orphanage, then she was scrubbing floors, she was laying out the dead. She's 14 years old. She was just like a little slave at the orphanage. When her dad walked in and said, "You can come and live with me," she should have made a vow to God that I'll do anything, which is kind of why she ended up having 7 kids, which she really didn't want to have, and she really didn't cope well with that. But just out of this fantastical view that, wow, I've been saved from this horrible life, and God answered my prayer.
Has her spirituality from that young age in the orphanage stayed with her throughout her life?
She's no longer religious, no. I think she's spiritual. She's well read, but she only got to be educated until the age of 14, and so her biggest dream for all of us was for all of us to graduate from high school. And a few years ago I said, most people, their dream is that their kids would go to college, and she was, "Oh, darling, I didn't even think about that. I just thought high school was, that was the ultimate."
Was the bomb, as they say.
Yeah.
Wow.
If you have a master's degree, darling, don't come home for Christmas.
I can only imagine what those lesson plans were like in the orphanage, until you're 14 years old. And she was there with her sister.
She did. She went to school when she was 14, and she was in the orphanage with her sister, who was a couple of years older, Aunt Patsy. And, I think there was a lot of shame, as there would be, people, what school did you go to? And, just the shame of having a broken family back then, having a divorced parent, having, I think, so my mum and her sister sort of tried to drag themselves up and pretend that they had this great, things weren't as bad as they were.
It's kind of like Cinderella, the fantasy of what can be, or what you imagine the world you will be living in eventually. I think you have to have that hope, don't you?
Yeah, the era too. You look at the movies, and the man would come in sweet and true love, and I think that's why my parents' marriage failed. It was just built on, there was love there, but it's just my dad put my mum on a pedestal, and when she got sick, he's passed away, but he apparently came in to mum and said, you're such a disappointment, getting sick, and now, the kids are my priority, and my business is my priority, and you're number 3. So I think it was just that sort of era.
Oof.
Yeah, the man was everything, and mum would sit at the end of the day and just listen to dad talk and talk and talk, and she was just there to support him. Yeah, it's not like that now. Thank goodness.
Look who's standing now, Margaret. She's still with us, and she's doing really well. What are there, 16 grandchildren and a couple of great grandkids? Is she a survivor? I think of her as a survivor.
Oh, definitely. So she's done well. the cycle of violence or sadness has been broken, and she's got 7 great kids who are all successful. None of us are in prison as of May 2024. But yeah, so that's great. Like that, she can look back and think, I did that.
Which is amazing, considering where she saw herself until 14 years old, right? Abused from a very young age. Was her mom, I mean, it must have been rough in the house with the mom. It wasn't just at the orphanages.
Yeah, I think, it must have been rough, but I think I don't really go into too much detail. It's not my story to tell, but the stepfather was a pedophile. So. A convicted one, which my grandmother knew when she married him, which again points to the lack of choices and just, you put up, you shut up. At least I've got a roof over my head and I can feed the kids.
Well, on paper, I can understand that mentality. A divorced mom, substance abuse, there certainly isn't clarity. And in this instance, a mom's priority is the safety and welfare of her children. Regardless of a roof and the food, but it is a dilemma of massive proportions. I think this is a really important message about settling it, but when you have substance abuse, it's kind of hard to have the clarity. So you are lost. I'll give anyone who's in the substance abuse dilemma, right? You're lost, so you make poor decisions. We know that. But your mom is a rising star in my mind, and it is possible. That is what the takeaway is here, is that she fought hard to get away and out of what she was given.
Absolutely, and I think part of the bravery of that is also leaving a marriage that she was deeply unhappy in, and again, breaking a vow to yourself where I'll never leave my husband. I'm going to be a good Catholic. I'm going to do, and eventually sort of deciding no, that I'm going to leave, and I think she left when she was about 50, and then she had this wonderful marriage for 25 years with a man called Tom, filled with love, and if she hadn't have left my father, she wouldn't have had that amazing experience with Tom. So it took guts.
It took her being courageous enough to walk away.
Absolutely,
right. To save herself.
Yeah, like we're all really like, well, Mum, you're being so mean to Dad. I was 16, so what do I know? But it's like, oh, poor Dad. But we all recovered and we all went to Mum's wedding, and so time heals.
And all supportive of her new life. That's hard for any child to see that happen, and we clearly do not understand. We have no idea what it's like to be a parent when we're a teenager, especially, right?
Yeah.
Hello, if we only had the clarity then. But then again, we're busier figuring out who we are and dealing with hormones, etc. So you've forgiven your mom for her past and your childhood complications?
Yeah, I think I have. Yeah. Recently, when I was back in Australia, Mum said, "So, darling, did you have a happy childhood?" And it was such a leading question. I just said no. Oh, I said, but I thought I'm nearly 60. I can't be bothered lying about this and making. But it all turned out for the best. So it's not like I was damaged by it being unhappy. No, or irrevocably damaged. So, and I often think of being unhappy at a point in your life, whether it's when you're a child or is that you appreciate when you are happy. So sometimes I look at kids who have this wonderful childhood and I think, I wonder how they'll cope when things aren't so great, because they don't have. Well, I'm kind of jealous as well, because I look at parents hovering over their children. I think, what that would have been like. wonder how I would have turned out. If maybe I wouldn't be so ambitious, or I wouldn't be so driven. I don't
Well,
know.
I guess we'll never know, will we? And you love your entrepreneurial spirit, right? But I can understand wondering why or what it would be like to have a more warm and fuzzy environment growing up as a child versus trying to get some recognition or alone time as one of 7.
Having a mother or a father like touch your cheek and ask you, how are you, look you into your eyes, rather than just like it's just this amorphous mass of the kids. And you kids get over there, you kids do this. Sort of, that was kind of like, you would relate to this, Jackie. My mum was like, Donna, check, up, oh, Donna. She, get her name.
Would they go through
3
5 names before they got to your name?
Yep.
Yeah. Yes, that we all want that and wish that, and hopefully by these conversations, everyone will start getting more of what they want, being better at asking for what they want, and understanding the whole picture is hard when you're young. But yeah, instead of, hey, you doing okay? Boom, as the parent runs by on their telephone or something, or goes back on their computer and gets to work, which is also, the world has changed so much. Everyone's always working, and there's a lot of distractions. But I do want to share more about what you're doing in Japan. Your entrepreneurial spirit has totally paid off. You have this amazing career that many people would be pining for. Your singing, your connection with the video games, not only singing the beautiful ballads, but doing some of the character voices, as well as the Tokyo Philharmonic Orchestra performances.
It's a dream come true to stand in a sparkly dress in front of, 70 musicians who are creating a harmonious, beautiful music and then emote with these incredible songs. And part of, my dream as a little girl was to be a famous singer and actor. And by the time I was, 25, I thought, well, that's never going to happen. And so to come to Japan, and then at the age of 40, I think, I know, probably a bit younger than that, but, late 30s, suddenly I've got the career I always wanted. And it's so serendipitous, but it's also, I'm so grateful. I'm lucky I was in the right place at the right time. Literally, I have no competition being a foreign woman in Japan at that time. It was pre-internet, sort of pre-sending music over the cloud and stuff, and I was just very lucky to be here.
You mentioned that you're very entrepreneurial, and it certainly seems like you have your fingers and hands in lots of really interesting things. So share with my audience the speed train, the Shinkansen.
Yeah, sure.
Shinkansen, what's the correct pronunciation?
The Shinkansen, the bullet train that goes from Tokyo to Osaka to Hiroshima to Kumamoto. They keep adding to it, actually. And I got the audition for it basically because I could mimic the woman who did it before, who was a Canadian woman who was trying to mimic the woman who did it before, who was British. So the intonation's quite distinct, and I would not have done it. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Shinkansen. This is an Nominee Super Express bound for Shin Osaka Station. Now, I'm smiling, Jackie, and normally when I talk, I don't smile like this, and I have the voice of a mother waking a child. Come on. So, it's very, very, la, 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 la.
And you've been doing this now for how long?
Since 2003.
Well, that's wonderful. That's pretty great.
Yeah.
That's a nice...
So just today, we were filling our car with gas in the countryside, and this woman said to my husband, "Your wife's a woman on the Shinkansen, isn't she?" She was like so excited. It's like being a celebrity over here. Yeah.
Yeah, well, those high-speed trains, They're very popular, and we certainly know about them here in the States. And you also are involved. You have another business, the Royal Flush.
Oh, yes. Have you been to Japan, Jackie?
I have not, but I know of the culture of the toilets in Japan.
Yeah, so they're absolutely public toilets in Tokyo are just so lovely. It's like going to the most fancy schmancy, restaurant toilet in, say, the most poshest hotel in America. And they're just so clean. You feel relaxed. The doors are, unlike toilet stalls in a lot of places, the doors are very secure. No one can see you. But also, there's a machine in every single toilet that makes a sound of water and forest birds to cover the sound of you accidentally farting or plopping or splashing. It's just so shocking that it's not in toilets in Australia, in the US, and whenever I travel, I'm like, oh, I'm not in Japan anymore. It's just, and I can hear the people next to me, and I was like, and I'm worried, can they hear me? It's just the indignity of it. So I've, again, because of the Shinkansen, I'm a trusted person. If it was anyone else, they'd be like, no, we don't want to do this. I've got the manufacturer in Japan to give me the worldwide rights, and they're like, yeah, rebrand it, and that's my mission, is to get these devices that Japan toilet sounds in every. I know you don't say toilets in America, you say bathrooms and restrooms, but yeah, office toilets. Your boss comes in, sits down, you're like, oh gosh, I don't want to hear them, and I certainly don't want them to hear me. So yeah, we don't have that problem in Japan. It's just wonderful.
Is it because the Japanese culture is to make you relaxed and comfortable, or is it because they're shy and demure personalities?
It's the second thing. Shy, but they don't want to be a bother. They don't want to bother the person, disturb, embarrass the person next to them by making them hear them. But actually, the original reason they came up with this was there was this terrible drought in a part of Japan in the late 1980s, and they were telling everyone, you've got to conserve water, and they realised that no one was, because women double flushed when everyone went to the toilet. It was just polite toilet etiquette to double, flush the toilet twice to cover up any sounds that you might make. And so they came up with a device that sounded like a flushing toilet. And then women would touch that, make the noise, and it stopped them from wasting water. So that was the original reason.
Wow. And they've come a long way, which is just...
Yes, we've all done the double flush. I have to say, I remember the last time I was in Whole Foods in Hawaii. I thought I had the whole toilet to myself. Someone came in, and I thought, I'm double flushing. I went there.
There you go. We do have to work on saving that water, but I understand.
And I would have thought I was a confident, proud, middle-aged woman who's happy to just let it, but no, I turned into a very shy Japanese woman, and I double flushed. Yeah.
Royal Flush. You can find the information online, and it'll also be on my Should Have Listened to My Mother podcast page. Donna Burke, thank you so much for staying up late and recording this episode from Tokyo.
My pleasure, and I'm so happy to talk to you, and I hope that your listeners feel some love and inspiration and connection from all the way from Japan.
Thank you so much. Donna Burke, vocalist for video games Metal Gear Solid and Silent Hill 2 and 3, all the way from Japan to your mom in Australia. Please send our best.
I will. Thank you.
And we'll be back next week with another episode of Should Have Listened to My Mother.